You're back on World News. A group of suicide bombers struck outside a courthouse in northwestern Pakistan on Tuesday, killing 5 people in an attack led by the Pakistani Taliban breakaway Jamaat-ul-Ahrar. The attack was the latest in a wave of militant assaults across the troubled country that has killed over 100 people since last week. In Tuesday's attack, 3 attackers hit the courthouse in the town of Intangi in the Charsada district. One of the bombers detonated his suicide vest at the court's main gate, while police shot and killed the 2 other assailants, according to the district police chief, Sohail Khalid. The other 2 were also wearing suicide vests, but had not managed to set them off before being gunned down. Khalid said 15 people were wounded in the attack and were taken to the hospital. Malaysia's ambassador to Pyongyang, Muhammad Nizam Mohammed, was recalled by the Malaysian Foreign Ministry after North Korea's ambassador to Malaysia called the investigation into the death politically motivated. Muhammad Nizam Mohammed arrived in Beijing on Tuesday amid the diplomatic fury surrounding the death of the exiled half-brother of North Korea's ruler. Speaking to the media at the airport, Mohammed said the Malaysian investigation has been objective, impartial, and very fair, and there was no reason for North Korea to doubt their sincerity in conducting the investigation. Meanwhile, Nur Hisham Abdullah, the Director General of Health, said the autopsy showed no evidence of a heart attack in Kim Jong-nam's death or sign of puncture wounds on his body. Asked if there was any indication that he had been poisoned, Nur Hisham said medical specimens had been forwarded to experts who can determine the cause of death. No family members have come forward to claim the body. Kim, who was in his mid-40s, died shortly after the airport incident en route to a hospital after suffering a seizure, Malaysian officials say.
Full post-mortem computed tomography.
The Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte has been accused of funding the murder of criminals and opponents by a former police officer. Arturo Lascana says Duterte paid him to be a member of a death squad. Al Jazeera's Jamela Alindogan reports.
Arturo Las Cañas claims he was Rodrigo Duterte's most trusted police officer when the president was the mayor of Davao City in the southern Philippines. On Monday, he appeared at a Senate hearing presented by human rights lawyers and main opposition figure, Senator Antonio Trillanes. Las Cañas claims he was one of the main organizers of the so-called Davao Death Squad, a vigilante group believed to have been set up by Duterte. He claims the president was behind the murder of a kidnapped suspect, his pregnant wife, and 5-year-old son several years ago. Las Cañas says that he also planned the murder of journalist and radio host Jun Pala on the orders of Duterte, who he says paid him and his men around $40,000 US. His loyalty to Duterte, he says, was beyond question. He even sacrificed his own family members. He says he was behind the murder of his 2 brothers who were involved in illegal drugs.
No one in my family knew about this. Now they know. I ask for their forgiveness. Even if I die now, at least I have made a public confession.
His statements corroborate claims by another self-confessed Davao Death Squad member, Edgar Matobato. But they contradict his Senate testimony last year when he denied involvement and accused Matobato of being part of a plan to destabilize the government. The Office of the President says the revival of the Davao Death Squad issue is a demolition job, a protracted political drama that aims to topple Duterte's administration. Las Cañas promises to reveal more as soon as his own statement is released and he is able to appear before a court.
Thousands of protesters gathered in London on Monday as British MPs debated the government's decision to invite the U.S. President Donald Trump on a state visit. Close to 2 million Britons signed an online petition calling for the visit to be blocked. Barnaby Phillips from Al Jazeera has more.
Does this crowd speak for Britain? They want their government and the MPs inside Westminster Hall in the background to know that Donald Trump is not welcome in this country. Well, close to 2 million British people have signed a petition saying Trump must not have a state visit. About 1/3 of a million signed a rival petition saying he should have one. Inside Parliament, they debated those petitions. Many were scathing about the American president and the speed with which Prime Minister Theresa May invited him here on a state visit.
That Britain should abandon all its principles and afford this man a state visit after 7 days. Really? And why? Because this great country is so desperate for a trade deal that we would throw all of our own history out the window? We didn't do this for Kennedy. We didn't do this for Truman.
But others pointed out that all sorts of leaders from all sorts of countries have been given state visits to Britain.
We can refer to all the things about Donald Trump, as some people have, even though he's democratically elected. Xi Jinping was here last year. Where were the demonstrations then? How many votes did Xi Jinping get? How many votes? We had a state visit from a Chinese leader 10 years after Tiananmen Square.
The debate ended without a vote, but if Donald Trump was watching, he may feel like giving the British Parliament a wide berth. Anyway, meeting angry MPs is probably less appealing to the American president than tea with the Queen.
Now let's take a look at what the weather will be like across the world today. Jakarta and Singapore will be having thunderstorms. Beijing and London will be cloudy, while Tokyo will be clear in the morning and cloudy later in the evening. It will be cloudy in Sydney and New York, rainy in Paris, and sunny in Cape Town and Mumbai. After the break, we will be taking you to Africa, where thousands of school children in Kenya are getting a rare opportunity to look up at the stars with a traveling telescope. And the upcoming epic adventure movie, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Tell me story. Tell me every detail.